So, how are we all doing today on this fine Monday afternoon? Yeah, you good? You good? Yep, just tell me through the camera, tell me through the screen, or wherever you're watching this from. Tell me through there. It's all good. So today I'm going to talk about two of everybody's favourite artists, that is Drake and Kanye West. Both of which have announced albums for June 2018. And I am so excited for both of these. Drake announced his next LP titled Scorpion a couple days, maybe a week or so back. Kanye West also announced his new album on Twitter, saying it was 7 songs long and was coming out on June the 1st. He also announced that collab album with Kid Cudi coming out on the 8th of June, 1 week after. But let's just talk about that quick. Kanye West's album is going to be 7 songs. That's the size of an EP. That's like what an EP sort of size would usually be. So maybe all songs are like 8 or 9 minutes long, or maybe he's just dropping an EP and marketing it as an album. Let's just hope these songs are going to be quite long, or he's joking and his album's actually going to be like 15 songs or something like that. Drake and Kanye West both releasing albums. I want to talk about Drake first, actually, because Drake has already released some music in 2018. Kanye West has been inactive so far in 2018. So yeah, let's talk about Drake. So Drake, always an evident figure in the pop and the rap scene and just the music scene in general. He is probably the biggest artist in the world right now across all genres, coming off the success of his Scary Hours EP with God's Plan and Diplomatic Community. God's Plan being probably the most popular song of the year so far. I actually have God's Plan and Diplomatic Community as 2 of my favourite songs of 2018 so far. So Drake, you've been cooking up some goodness in the studio. I just said cooking up some goodness. That's never happening again. Anyway, Drake has actually been releasing some really good tunes so far. Obviously the Scary Hours EP I just mentioned. Also his new single Nice for What, which, you know, I didn't love on the first listen. I guess it's alright. The Lauryn Hill sample though, let's just talk about that quick. That Lauryn Hill sample just does the song justice, really. That song, X Factor by Lauryn Hill, is probably one of my favourites of all time. So Drake, you know your stuff, man. I respect you. Yeah, Drake's been dropping some very good material in 2018, and obviously some of you might know I didn't love his last project, More Life. Not going to call it an album because he doesn't mark it as an album. It's a playlist, guys, remember that. More Life is a playlist. Yeah, I didn't think it was that strong. I thought it was an album. It was just rushed and it was quite a lot of B-sides and leftover material from Views. Views was even worse than More Life in my opinion, although there were some decent standout tracks on Views, such as Still Here, Hype, You With Me was pretty good. Drake hasn't been on the greatest run in terms of his last couple projects and albums. Let's just say that. Although 2015's If You're Reading This Was Too Late was great. That's a great album or mixtape. That was really good. But then after that, he's just, in my opinion, kind of fallen off in terms of like musical quality and rapping talent. It just hasn't really been there for me. But I think in 2018, he's coming out with this different formula. He's just coming out, he's making hits, yet they're just fun. These are just funner songs than what he was dropping before. Some of the tracks on More Life just got so stale. Like, I think it's called Galchester. That track, the bass line, literally it's like that that flute at the start or whatever, kind of reminds me of like some sort of wizardry, and it's like, oh, this is going to be exciting. The bass line kills the song. The rest of the song sucks just because of that flat bass line that just makes it sound horrible. Portland was very meh. Just some tracks on it were kind of uninspired.
Hello everyone, this is Peter in the middle of editing this video. I don't know how I managed to talk about the song Portland and not mention Drake's incredible line where he says, "My side girl got a 5S with a screen crack and still hit me back right away." That is amazing. Can we just honour one of the greatest bars in hip hop history for a moment? Okay, that's it. Silence over. Back to the video.
So let's talk about Drake's upcoming LP, Scorpion. It's unclear whether or not this album is going to feature the tracks from the Scary Hours EP, God's Plan and Diplomatic Community. I believe Nice What is going to be on the album, although nothing's come out about that as of this recording. I just personally think Nice For What is going to be on this album. It just seems like it's the lead single. It's going to be the lead single from the album. I might be completely wrong. Nice For What might just be a promotional sort of track. Also, the album title Scorpion kind of leads me to believe that this album is going to be largely about Drake, as that's not really a surprise. Pretty much everything he's done has been largely centered around him and his experiences, which isn't a bad thing, or I'm not expecting anything else. I'm just saying this is just probably going to be another personal album, as Drake was born in October. As we know, he named his record label after his birthday. We know that the OVO brand has largely been about Drake. It's not really been about many of the other people signed to the OVO label. It's about Drake first and foremost. So yeah, Drake was born in October. Scorpio is his birth sign. So Scorpion, Scorpio, I think I heard somewhere that has some sort of significance, so people are just saying this is going to be a personal album about him. I just think a lot of Drake fans are waiting for another, really, really strong album from Drake, like another classic, like Take Care. A lot of Drake fans regard Take Care as a classic, although I don't love that album that much. I think it could be regarded as a classic just because of its sort of impact and how much Drake has come into the game and changed the culture, especially with that album. I will give you that. Take Care, I guess you can label it a classic, but pretty much all his output after that is just not up to that sort of standard that people had Take Care at. Apart from If You're Reading This Is Too Late, which was fantastic. Nothing was the same. Views, More Life, everything else has just been kind of lackluster. I'm going to predict right here that Scorpion will be Drake's best album or best project since If You're Reading This Is Too Late. Going to surpass Views, going to surpass More Life. He's going to make that return to form with Scorpion. Even though we know Drake is quite he can be formulaic sometimes. I mean, not formulaic. He can be trendy. He can, appeal to the masses. Like, it seems like he's intentionally trying to do it. So I think Drake is going to incorporate, like dance hall and pop and reggae and stuff like that he's been experimenting with. He's going to do all that. We've seen all the memes about British Drake and Jamaican Drake and this Drake and that Drake. I do think he is starting to get a bit agitated with all these memers coming out. Like he said on Diplomatic Immunity, that when other black artists do great things, people hold it to this high regard, but when Drake does something, it's insignificant. So yeah, I think Drake will make that leap back to form with his new album Scorpion. But now I want to discuss Kanye, Omari, West. Kanye, I reckon Kanye, if anyone, is going to be the one person who could sort of knock Drake off the top, or sort of challenge Drake at the top with a new album this year. I don't really see J. Cole's new album KOD challenging Drake at the top of the rap game at the moment, although I think J. Cole's new album KOD is really good. By the way, I might make a video about that album soon. But anyway, as I was saying, I don't think J. Cole is going to really challenge Drake at the top. J. Cole is very popular. He's probably one of the sort of top 5, top 10 rappers right now in terms of popularity, but I don't think he's going to really come that close to Drake right now, because Drake is... the numbers are ridiculous. If anyone's going to do it, I think it's Kanye West. Now, there might be a slight problem with that, because I don't know what Kanye's doing. Kanye hasn't done anything in the music scene for a very long time. There's been like some leaked demos and stuff like that. There was like a leaked version of Father Stretch My Hands Part 2 or something like that a couple of weeks ago, like another version of it with Kendrick on it. But yes, Kanye is a weird name to talk about right now in the rap game, because he hasn't really done much over the past 2 years since The Life of Pablo came out. And Kanye has kind of been getting a bit worse since 2010, if we can sort of just be honest with ourselves. In no way or shape or form is Kanye West a bad artist. Kanye's never been a bad artist at any given point in his career, in my opinion. But My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy in 2010, absolutely fantastic. Kanye West's magnum opus. 3 years after My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Kanye West drops Yeezus. Now, Yeezus was the opposite of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was grandiose, it was beautiful, it was extravagant. Yeezus is abrasive, hard-hitting, experimental, industrial. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was arguably Kanye's lyrical peak, and Yeezus is arguably his lowest point lyrically. And then right after Yeezus we got The Life of Pablo, which was essentially a collection of random songs. It's all over the place, it's scattered, had some fantastic high moments, had some not that great lower moments. So Kanye's been a bit sporadic. He's been unpredictable with his music over the last 5 years or so. But I do have faith in Kanye to get his career back on that sort of magnum opus level that he had it on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I don't think he's going to drop an album near the MBDTF sort of standard. He won't drop an album as good as that one. If you haven't seen Kanye's Twitter lately, he's been tweeting a lot of philosophical stuff, let's just say. The guy's obviously thinking about a lot of stuff with these tweets, and I think he's actually tweeting like right now as I speak. I'm going to read some of these out actually. Hang on, what? Nas has an album coming out June the 15th. Kanye, mate, he's announced about 5 albums in the last week. This is incredible. Self-victimization is a disease. Oh, I guess it's true. There was a time when slavery was the trend, and apparently that time is still upon us. But now it's a mentality. You see, he just doesn't care. He talks about anything he wants. People respect people for following the general trend and consensus. Now that is definitely true. I don't think it should be true. I think people should be respected for doing what they want to do and not following trends. People demonise people, and then they demonise anybody who sees anything positive in someone who's been demonised. I can't even wrap my head around how many times he used the word demonised there. That's more times than I've ever used it in my life. Yeah, Kanye's taken something, I don't know what it is, but in all seriousness, I think he can incorporate some of these philosophical musings into his next album. That'd be really interesting to see actually, just how lyrical his next album is. Because Yeezus, some of the lyrics were terrible. The Life of Pablo, some of the lyrics were fantastic, some of the lyrics were awful. And it's just really weird, sporadic output from him recently. But this, he seems like he's growing, sort of. I don't know, there's just something about Kanye. He seems like he's changing. And I hope he does incorporate something new into his next album. There have been some people saying he's just going to carry on sort of riding this contemporary wave. Like with The Life of Pablo, he incorporated some elements of sort of trap and the new wave hip-hop that's been dominating the charts recently. What I want to know is he going to carry on sort of incorporating ideas from his contemporaries, or is he going to come up with something fresh that completely challenges the trap sound in hip-hop right now? I would love to see Kanye change the hip-hop landscape again, like he has done many times with The College Dropout, with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, with Graduation. Yeezy has changed the landscape a lot, guys. And don't be surprised if he does it again with his next album. But, I don't know. It's very up in the air right now. As I said, he's been inactive for quite some time. But it's going to be interesting to see what he does in 2018.